Before mediation, nothing we couldn't, me and my mum couldn't discuss anything in the house calmly. Most of the time, anything trying to get it across was through an argument, you know, so it was mostly shouting, you know, and nothing was getting through properly. So we couldn't resolve anything by just shouting and bawling at each other. It was pointless. Well, before the mediation, obviously the arguments happened, you know, quite a lot. You know, multiple times a week. You know, just it went from kind of niggles just to, you know, full on, you know, she's screaming and shouting, walking out of the house, kind of thing. So, quite often, yeah. I suppose after you have an argument, nobody feels good, you know. So obviously you feel kind of guilty as well in a way. Sometimes you actually feel alright, you know, that you've got something out, but at the same time, it's not the right way to get through to somebody. So you don't feel proud of yourself at all because you feel like you've hurt somebody's feelings at the same time. So you know, it's not a nice feeling at all. I found out about it through school. Also, I went to my guidance teacher and said that things weren't too good at home, and she sent a referral through. Truthfully, when I heard about it, and I think I met with one of the workers, and she was talking about what it was, and I was like, this isn't going to work. I just didn't think it was. I didn't realise. I thought it was a bit of a storytelling thing. You know, it didn't sound like it was my cup of tea. I didn't think it was going to work. But once I met with the counsellors and, you know, discussed what was wrong and what had to be sorted out, I think that was when I got to grips and thought, this actually, it might work. And me and my mum both says, well, we'll give it a go, and we did. So never turned back from it. So been happy ever since. Mediation process, I think it's you need to have guts to go through it as well. I think you need to turn around and go, I'm going to have to, you know, conquer my fears now, and turn around and just hit it head on. You know, be completely honest and, you know, solve these problems, because the only way you can turn around, you know, mediation it's like sitting down with a cup of tea and speaking to your mum, but there's somebody that keep it calm. And honestly, to be brutally honest, I've turned around and, you know, I've stood up and walked out the room, and I've said, well, I don't want to speak anymore because I'm not. You know, because you do things wrong, and you've got to accept that you yourself you do things wrong, and you play a part in how things react in the household as well. It's not just the other person, and, you know, getting to grips with that yourself. The advice that I was always told was to tell someone, and I was always really kind of scared to do that because of the consequences on who might get involved, or, you know, what might happen. But it got to the point where I'd taken so much, and I thought, I have to let it out, I have to tell someone. And to be honest, it's the best thing I've ever done. About myself, yeah. In general, I think I've learned that, you know, it's not difficult to sit and speak to somebody, but to sit and talk about your problems is difficult, you know, especially when, you know, they can be so difficult to talk about. You know, they can be, you know, harsh. They can be, you know, they can disturb you. It can be disturbing sitting talking about your past, and, you know, once you actually sit down and do so, then you know, you learn that it's, you know, the outcome isn't bad, and that, you know, you can sort things out just by talking. It's the one thing that people just tend not to do. So many people have problems and say, I'm not going to go to counsel, and I'm not going to speak to my mum about it. And to be honest, I look at them and I think, you don't know what you're missing out on, because you could be sorting this out so much quicker than you are now. If I hadn't went to my guidance teacher, I think I'd still be troubled. I think I'd still be having a hard time in the house, and so would my mum. I think it's something that, you know, you don't want to think, what if I hadn't done it, because you're that glad that you did it. But if I hadn't done it, I don't know where I'd be, because it's something that, you know, you realise that you do need this a relationship with your parents. You know, you realise that you do need to speak to your parents about things. And to be honest, ever since Amber, you know, the mediation started, I've been more open with my mum about everything that's been going on, just in general. It's not just been problems, it's been things that make me happy as well. And it's made our relationship in a whole better, you know. And it's just by just sitting talking. And it's